Guide for Inner Spiritual Work by Rabbi Michael-ben-Pesach, Portnaar. Lesson number 8. What is the difference between a shade of Kedusha and the shade of Achra? It is written, and the shadows flee away. We must understand why the plural sense, or why the plural tense, two shadows. One. Thing is, we must know that when one does not feel the existence of his providence, it is like a shadow hiding the sun. There are two discernments here. When he has still the ability to overcome the darkness, to justify the Creator, and to pray, the Creator will open his eyes to see that all the concealments he feels come from the Creator. In other words, the Creator is the originator, so he may find his prayer and yearn to cleave unto him. Only by the affliction he receives from him, when he wants to be freed from thy troubles, he does do everything he can, too. This is why the Creator sends him the concealments and the affliction. Then he is certain he makes the right cure, which is to do a lot of praying and pleading. It follows he becomes needy of the Creator. In this state, it is still considered believing in his providence, according to one's ability to overcome and justify his providence. Although in that state one lacks the joy of one who serves the Creator, one can still strengthen oneself. Minimal plurality is two. And two, when there is at least a minimum of connection, awareness, with his inner being, a kilim de hashpah. When he comes to a state where he no longer can surmount and say that all the torments and afflictions that he feels are from the Creator, that he has caused him all that, then he comes to a state of heresy, because he cannot believe in his providence. One naturally has no ability to pray and ask of the Creator. This is the meaning of, and the shadows flew away, meaning the shadows will be flown from the world. 3. When there's absolutely no connection, awareness, with his inner being, and as a consequence of the Creator either, there are two situations. First, the state of concealing that the person has the possibility to direct himself to the Creator. Second, the state of concealing can't believe in the control system of the Creator. We must distinguish between a shade of Kedusha, sanctity, and the shade of Achra, other side. In the Holy Zohar, another god is sterile and does not bear fruit. However, in Kedusha, under its shadow, I delighted to sit, and its fruit was sweet to my palate. This means one says that all the concealments one feels are because it is his wish, so that one would serve him beyond reason. It follows that he does not pray for the shadows to fly from the world, but says it is certainly the Creator who sends him these situations, since it must be the will of him that the form of one's work before him will be in this manner. If so, why should I care which form my work takes, since my sole intention is only to bestow contentment to my Maker? Thus, what seems fit in his eyes, I will do. In other words, the Creator wants him to feel a kind of smallness and lowness during this work, which he perceives as unfitting for a servant of the Creator, that his work will have a form of such inferiority. If he agrees wholeheartedly to such a state, it is said about him, under its shadow I delighted. It means that one covets such a state so as to have room to make some overpowering for his name. 4. Two shadows, or two concealings. Two concealments separate the person to become aware of the control system of the Creator. The holy shadow is indeed concealment, but here a person can understand that all the suffering is the wish of the Creator, so he can come to the belief beyond knowledge. Only then he can understand and speak about it. It turns out that in a state where one cannot even pray, it is because of a sin. 5. One is punished for having been given a place for overpowering in a state of concealment and affliction. Hence, he was altogether thrown from Kedusha. In that state, one has no hold of Kedusha, and the proof of it is that he cannot even pray. 5. One is complete, submissive at the nature of his outer being, Kelim, the Kabbalah. In that state, the counsel is to start one's work anew, as though he was born anew, and now begins to enter the Kedusha. One cannot be aided by the past. Instead, one needs to start one's whole way anew. When one is involved in the first situation of concealment and forgets to ask for help at the Creator, he falls back in the second situation. The condition is so far of deity, he has to start all over. But what has been reached before never disappears, God forbid. So, to start all over again means do not count what happens before, if it has never existed, not knowing whom the Creator is, what He wants from you. What is it all about? Don't stay for years in this new situation. You can even let it behind. You can let it behind you in a few seconds, but only without any remembrance of the past. When a person feels himself standing in the shadows, or in other words, the Creator is calling him to follow him, he will follow the Creator. When he ignores the Creator, conceals himself, double, so one will understand he exists. There has to be a lot of effort to come to the second stage and to the first one. In other words, there has to be a lot of effort to come from the second stage to the first one, meaning agree with the Creator. It gives the condition of katnut and accept the suffering by going with faith beyond knowledge, and after a while receive the wanted, the sweet fruit from the revealing. All what we are reading and hearing is a matter of learning. It is not inherent in our condition. It all comes from above. We are all born with a certain nature, and from here the Kelim is working. 6. All wording floats above the same nature. However, it is necessarily for us to wake up the light, to force it to enter, and to work within our awareness. This is necessarily so when we can handle beyond knowledge and experience there is a holy shadow. It isn't relevant if we understand the articles of the Kabbalists. What counts is to wake up the Or Makif, and to make it possible for it to enter our awareness. Then one can start to understand. The procedure of the outer being, 6 and 7. These are, in principle, only predestined for the inner being, Kelim de Hashpa, the one who can become aware. Are katnut and shiflut, tiny and annulling situations, the same conditions that are connected? What is katnut? When I justify the condition of katnut, then I feel wholeness and no wish for another situation. This is the condition of binah. Shiflut is a special condition within katnut. In this condition, one works from the higher understanding. It's not bad at all. It is the opposite of sheflut, which is lowness. It is important to know, considering whom he characterized the given situation. When there is, from above, the wish, I have to annul my intellect and knowledge for the aim of the creation. I am ready to do so. This is named also shiflut. Accordingly, I receive greater wisdom and knowledge. The situation experienced as shiflut when I lock my brain without head and serve the higher. When a person is helpless and stands with his back to the wall, only then he can go further, when there is faith beyond belief. He experiences he had lost all the power to undertake something. He is exhausted to the last end. Only then a person is in the condition to accept the intellect of the higher and to lean on in his further life. However, we are all in the period of preparation. This period is the longest and the heaviest. When one is in this period, it is difficult to come beyond knowledge. It is as if you're helping a friend, but your heart doesn't lie in it. This is the reality we live in. We do something, make mistakes, and start anew. Only when we have passed the machsom, we really can come to and live with faith beyond knowledge. According to this principle, a certain mental condition is easier to bear. When a person has reached a true level, he sees how wrong he was. Every situation must be taken seriously. Don't say it doesn't matter. That's the moment it does. The given suffering comes in a large concentration. Situations of suffering are to be called as spiritual. You can work it out in a short period, but for the most of us, this would be unbearable. The smallest, most relevant connection with the Creator would save us time and shorten our suffering. Please review at the end of the lesson the table from 4 columns. What to correct, with what, result, and goal. Be well. Until next time.